Hey all, and welcome back to Kingdom Hearts Final Mix. The battle level here is pretty spicy, Spa, so what can we expect from this here world?
Well, first of all, the game thinks we're going to the next world, but we're actually going to get interrupted, for those that have played KH1 before.
Okay.
You probably know what's coming. We're going to end up swallowed up by the giant whale Monstro, and visit some characters from the classic Disney film Pinocchio.
Funnily enough, this is actually my favourite of the classic Disney movies. I'm not sure what the term is, Silver Age or whatever, but you know, like Snow White, Sleeping Beauty, Pinocchio is probably my favourite one. First of all, it's a beautiful movie, so me being as shallow as I am, I appreciate that sort of thing. Second of all, the story is just dark enough without being... I don't know if edgy was even a thing back then, but, you know, edgy as edgy gets. Well, what am I saying? They were the Brothers Grimm and their tales, so I guess edgy did exist, for lack of a better word. But, yeah, I just really love the looks of Pinocchio, the story style of Pinocchio. It's got some fun characters in there, some really cool set pieces, and here comes one of them, I believe.
There's this big old Monstro who's just kind of floating around out in the gummy world, whatever this is. Monstro was later added to Birth by Sleep Final Mix, I think, as a secret boss you could fight in the Mirage Arena. I actually played Birth by Sleep a little bit the other day, and attempted that fight, and it reminded me very quickly why I hate Birth by Sleep.
Oh no, Birth by Sleep is like in my top 3. It's like KH2 Final Mix, KH3 Birth by Sleep.
I think it's a fine game, but I hate playing it, is a better way to describe it.
Well... you are my friend, so I'll take that L on my chest. I don't want to be fooled by a whale, but we must spar.
We must.
These are the sacrifices we make as commentators. I can't believe there was like the entirety of the Destiny Islands within this whale.
Honestly, it wouldn't surprise me. He swallows a lot of stuff.
He sure does. I like how there's a little blur effect on this, because whenever you go into the past, you kind of have to signify, hey, this isn't the present. Don't get confused, alright? They didn't just become chibi or whatever.
I mean, it's also the fact that, you know, memories can get blurry, which is something that's touched upon in Chain of Memories, of course, but, you know, things aren't perfect when you try to remember stuff that happened 10 years ago.
True that, sir. Kind of reminded me a little bit of when we were playing Chrono Cross Radical Dreamers Edition on stream, and I had accidentally turned on slow motion, so the frame rate looked like we were moving through molasses. Oh, was the egg on my face, that stream.
I, read reports that there were problems with the frame rate in the remaster, and so when we saw everything moving slow, we thought that was the culprit. It turned out it was a thing that you could turn on in the game. When you read that and then see it, that's what you first think it is.
At least we figured it out eventually, so no L's from that particular stream, except for, accidentally healing Salt, was it, or Pepper, one of those two fuckboys.
Right, yeah. Now, this is taking place, of course, before Kairi gets to the island, so it's just Sora and Riku running around doing their own adventures, and we'll learn a bit more about that later on.
Well, Kairi is here, as I just said. I guess she fell to the islands and, the mayor took her in, or whatever. But that island doesn't technically exist in terms of being built until the second game, so we'll just ignore that plot point for now.
What are you guys doing?
I was actually curious about that, and the main island where all the residential area is off to the side from where they typically look out into the ocean. So it sort of makes sense to, why it's not shown in some scenes.
Hey, can you quit throwing, potions at us or whatever? At least throw a high ether.
It's me!
Oh, Pinocchio. He of lies.
Again, I always thought it was weird that the party recognizes Pinocchio here. It's because of that scene that we showed from Traverse Town, of course, but the party recognizes Pinocchio whether you watch that scene or not, so that always baffled me, because of course if you don't find that one, you never see it.
Ding. They should put these things in actual chronological order if they want me to appreciate it as the art that it is.
What have you got there, Pinocchio?
This is Jeff Bennett, I believe, as Geppetto. I actually can't recall his original voice actor from the original film. But did you know that I think it was Drew Carey played Pinocchio in the live-action film Geppetto?
No, I didn't know that.
That film when no one will give up their favourite chair for you in exchange for not being kidnapped.
The credit I have for Geppetto and KH1 is actually Tony Pope. So I don't know which one is actually correct, but that's the one I found on IMDb.
Ah, okay. He may have taken over for Birth by Sleep then.
Entirely possible. I think they did use a different actor for that one. Seth Adkins as Pinocchio. They couldn't get back the original voice actors from the animated film, of course, because that was 62 years before this game was made, so kind of makes sense that they wouldn't be able to get them back for that.
Okay, yeah, I just did a quick Google. So Jeff Bennett took over as Geppetto in Kingdom Hearts Dream Drop Distance. Did you know, Spart, that there, in the year of our Lord, 2021 plus 1, 3 Pinocchio movies, completely separate from each other, coming out?
What are you doing?
How many are being made by Disney?
Well, let's scroll down the list, shall we? We have a Disney live-action adaptation of the 1940 movie. It's coming to Disney Plus in September. Fierce competition with Xenoblade 3, so there you go. But it will star Tom Hanks as Geppetto, and Benjamin Evan Ainsworth will be voicing the puppet, who has the same design in live-action as the animated film.
Huh, that's interesting. I think Tom Hanks is a pretty good pick for Geppetto at this point in his career as well.
Maybe.
So Riku's just being a fuckboy here, so I'm going to ignore him and just keep talking about these Pinocchio adaptations if you don't mind. The next one is a Netflix stop-motion animated adaptation of Carlo Collodi's novel, The Adventures of Pinocchio. It will be directed by Guillermo del Toro and Mark Gustafsson. Sorry for butchering your names there, I'm trying to read well live. It happens. That'll be on Netflix in December. That one looks pretty good. The third and final one is by Lionsgate, and it's pretty notorious, nay, infamous at this point. Do you know what I'm talking about, Spur?
No, I don't think I've seen anything about this, actually.
But father, I have the whole world to see.
Alright, I think that's all I need to hear on that.
Yes, they described it as the yassification of Pinocchio.
Oh no. Those words terrify me in a way that I can't explain.
Yeah, it's an English version of the Russian animated movie Pinocchio, A True Story. And all I know about it is that scene. There's another one where a guy shoots Pinocchio like point blank, and that's about it, really. Maybe I'll watch the Razzle reaction sometime today.
I think the film based on the original movie is going to be something pretty special, because I was actually reading up on that before we started, and in the original story by Carlo Collodi, Jiminy warns Pinocchio of, like, being a bad boy, and then it says that he just kills Jiminy in retaliation.
Yeah, I think he crushes him with a hammer or something.
Yeah, and I'm just like, wait, what?
I don't like that. That's disturbing. Also, it was a book, not a movie. I'm just going to be pedantic there for a second.
Alright.
Interestingly, these Ghost Heartless here first appear in Monstro, when really they're more thematically appropriate to Halloween term.
Well, you can... I don't think there's a way to get to Halloween Town before Monstro. Whichever way you go from Agrabah on the gummy menu, you'll run into Monstro first, whether you go this way or towards the other world, towards the bottom of the map. So you're gonna get Monstro no matter what. You don't actually have to complete Monstro to continue in the game, though. And this is another one of the things that Kingdom Hearts 1 does, that if you defeat Maleficent later on in Hollow Bastion and then come back, of course she's not in these scenes because she's already defeated. And I think in addition to that, if you advance far enough so that Riku goes into his, super darkness phase, he acts differently in these cutscenes as well, and some of the dialogue is different. So, Monstro is actually one of the biggest for changes in KH1 if you do weird things like that.
I wonder if there's a compilation of all those cutscene changes out there. Ooh, 3 wishes. I forgot you changed it.
Right, yeah, it's actually one of the best Keyblades at this point. KH1 is pretty good about each Keyblade you get being a pretty flat upgrade to the previous one. That's pretty different to some of the other games where Keyblades have different strength or magic improvements, so that, you know, you kind of have to pick and choose. In this game, you kind of just equip the new one and go with it.
For sure. Oh, not sure I care for Parasite Cage's recolor here.
You up for this?
I've seen this color so much that I don't even remember what it originally looked like.
It was purple, the color of people who destroy fridges.
Oh, that's right, it was purple, just like guard armor.
yes, it was.
Again, I've seen Final Mix so much I don't remember the original, so that's weird to think about.
Oh, Spar, you've forgotten your roots, mate.
Well, I mean, do you want to go back to the original PS2 version at this point in time?
I would like the option to choose between the color palettes, honestly. I'm surprised that's not a thing.
You know what? I wouldn't mind that either. There's definitely some in the other Final Mixes that I don't like the recolors for either.
Just going back to your Keyblade thing for a moment there. I really loved in 3 how every single one was special, because you could just upgrade them. You know, if one was a bit weaker, just throw in some materials and, you know, upgrade it a little bit. I hope that comes back in 4.
I think one of my favorite things about the Keyblades in 3 is how they're used in the speedrun, because you can equip 3 of them at a time and cycle through them. Ever After, the Keyblade from the Tangled world is actually very, very strong because it's a magic-focused Keyblade, and its shot lock is insane for taking out enemies and bosses. So even though it's very early on in the game in KH3, it's used for a lot of in-game stuff.
Sorry, you want to rephrase that, Riku?
Pinocchio is my little boy.
Please stop playing pranks on my little wooden boy.
Puppets have hearts. I'm not sure.
This is one of those scenes that's kind of burned into my memory, all the dialogue for whatever reason. A lot like "There's no way you're taking Kairi's heart." And I don't know why, because I don't think Parasite Cage 2 is that hard that I died on it a lot, but it's burned into my memory somehow in the same way that that one is.
Well, our brains are weird. Sometimes you'll just see something so banal, but you'll just remember it forever. It's like, oh, I can't remember the face of my first cat, but I remember the fact that the sky was a little bit beige that day.
Yeah, something like that. Always weird. Alright, so now we have the high jump ability, a staple of the Kingdom Hearts series. It allows us to jump high. Woo! As one would expect.
Yeah, and there is actually a summon gem in this particular room. Are you going to get it, or did you already get it and I was too busy talking about the yassification of Pinocchio?
Nope, I will be getting it off screen and then using it later, because I did want to show off almost all of the summons. I'm not going to use Bambi because Bambi's weird, but the rest of them will get at least one use in this playthrough.
No, Bambi, what the fuck?
So what Bambi does is weird, is basically as you keep fighting enemies, Bambi will constantly, like, dig up MP orbs, or spawn MP orbs, I guess.
Yeah.
And can also spawn some rare synthesis materials, so it's actually a really good way to get stuff like orichalcum and things like that, if you need more of the materials to finish off all the synthesis in KH1, which is arguably one of the worst synthesis grinds in the entire series.
Right.
Riku?
A puppet that's lost its heart to the Heartless. Maybe it holds the key to helping Kairi.
Yes, an empty vessel,
How
perfect
about,
for
Sora?
storing a heart,
Let's join forces to
perhaps.
save her.
And maybe you should have started with, you know, something has happened to Kairi and we should work together.
What?
Maybe that would have made this whole thing go a bit smoother.
Ding! Perfect cold rational logic not used in my emotion-filled video game.
No heart. At least he still has a conscience.
Oh, got him.
Conscience.
I want a little
You might not hear
fucking
it,
Nomura designed
Right
Jiminy
now, it's
Cricket
loud
on,
and
like,
clear.
Riku's shoulder.
and it's
It's just a
telling you
Dream
you're
Eater,
on the wrong
like
side.
3 games earlier or
Then
something.
you live
Oh,
in your
Jesus.
choice.
Pinocchio! Pinocchio!
Yeah, it's funny they discuss Pinocchio having a heart here, because obviously we'd have the whole thing with toys in Kingdom Hearts 3.
That's right, I never even thought about that, because the toys originally, you know, I think the organization thought they didn't have hearts. And they were like, inspecting them or whatever, or investigating them, to try to figure out why they were behaving so weirdly if they didn't have hearts.
Hey, it's me again.
And he's worse this time.
This arena is not really conducive to how Kingdom Hearts operates as a video game, sadly enough. You don't really have the movement skills necessary to dodge Parasite Cage majority of the time.
You have such a small platform that's completely surrounded by poison, and the raised platforms around the edge don't really do any good for you. So this whole fight's just kind of a mess of trying to get hits and healing when you need to.
You won't be able to block in the air until Kingdom Hearts 3, too.
You can parry attacks, but that's it. Of course, parrying causes you to, like, get knocked backwards as well, so, like, that doesn't really do you much good.
How'd you fare against this boss in the Chain of Memories version of Monstro, mate? Because obviously you have the mini-game where you have to keep a combo going in order to upset Monstro's tummy, and then you have, like, the isometric version of this, where most of the arena is like stomach acid, I guess, and there's just like 4 platforms that you have to balance on.
I don't remember much about how I handled the original Chain of Memories, but I definitely remember hating the version of Re-Chain of Memories because you have those 4 platforms, and they disappear after standing on them for like 5 seconds, unless you get the Mickey gimmick card. So yeah, not one of the greatest bosses in that game.
Off he goes to be reincarnated in his mecha form in 2.
In the meantime, giving Monstro some hella indigestion.
Oh, Jesus. Did I swallow the Taco Bell Heartless there?
And now we have Stop Magic, which is weird. There are a lot of really funny things with Stop Magic that I could get into. Suffice to say, they're really complicated, and if anyone's interested, I recommend looking up how Stop interacts with the XP0 ability, because XP0 in this game is kind of fascinating in the way they implemented it.
There are 7 maidens of the purest heart.
Oh, Jesus, you just try to save your girlfriend, and then the evil witch you've been following without question just starts lore dumping.
Right?
The heart of all worlds.
So for those of you who don't know, and obviously we're discussing spoilers for this game and the entire series, Kairi's heart is safe within Sora at this point.
But nobody knows that, which is the funny part.
Now, I'll grant you a marvelous gift.
It's a gun!
The power to control the Heartless.
That's a decent second place prize, I guess.
Can she just kind of convey this power to anyone? What control does Maleficent even have over the darkness? Like, over the Heartless, I mean.
I don't think it was fully formed as an idea at this point in time. Nomura writes a few games in advance, so he probably had some, like, early ideas for Chain of Memories and Kingdom Hearts 2, but nothing concrete.
I mean, especially with Kingdom Hearts 1, because they had no idea how it was going to perform. So they had no clue what was going to happen with it. And so there just was no way they could have planned ahead to all the crazy things that happen in the rest of the series, especially up to what we're getting now, again with Kingdom Hearts 4 on the horizon. It's absolutely insane how far the series has come at this point.
Hey, wait a minute, we've already been to Agrabah.
I don't actually remember what I'm doing here. At this point, I think I'm going back to show off something in Traverse Town. This is the first video in the playthrough so far that I didn't rewatch this video before doing the commentary, so this is as much a surprise for me as it is for everyone else.
Oh, this is Gonzo Let's Playing at this point, guys.
Yeah, I think I'm going back to Traverse Town to show off some of the summon gems that you can pick up, as well as getting a new Keyblade from Merlin, because I think we have one of every magic now.
Oh, that one's really good for magic. Well, you'd expect so, getting it from Merlin.
Yeah, it actually increases your maximum MP by 2, which is the most that we get for a very long time. In fact, there's only one Keyblade in the game that increases magic by 3. Oh, this is what I'm doing. I'm going back to this house because Geppetto and Pinocchio moved to Traverse Town. That's what it is.
There you go, you're tying a little ribbon on the Pinocchio arc, as it were.
I do go back and visit Merlin at the end of this, though.
That's fair, mate, don't you worry. Oh, we got Geppetto as an item, I guess.
That is a blueprint for the gummy ship. Geppetto makes blueprints for different gummy ships depending on how many Heartless you've defeated in the game. And we also got a new Keyblade. This one I'm probably not going to show off because it's not that good. Wishing Star definitely has its uses. It will always, in any situation, end a 3-hit combo, or I guess any combo if you use Combo Plus. It will always end a combo with a critical hit, which is very useful in a lot of cases.
Yeah, but it's also kind of like you're hedging your bets there, really.
It's kind of weak compared to, like, even Wishing Star that we have here, or 3 Wishes I think it actually is. Wishing Star is the one we're talking about. 3 Wishes here, I got the names mixed up because they both have Wish in it. But, yeah, so it's weaker than 3 Wishes, and also has a very short reach. I think it's one of the shortest Keyblades in the game, and reach is actually really helpful in this game because you don't have the movement and combat options that you get in later games that help you move around and get to the enemies that you're trying to hit.
I think the only Keyblade that's shorter is the one we get from Neverland.
But that one's also really good because it's really strong and has good magic. I'm showing off the Keyblades to show the stats on everything. Spellbinder, a bit weak in strength, but that 2 magic is absolutely insane at this point.
Sure is. See you next time for more of this. Bye-bye!